ahead and put your finger on the title of the story. Go ahead and put your finger on. Point your finger. Let me see. Hey, check your neighbor. See if they're pointing fingers on the title. Who can tell me the title of this story? Who can tell me the title? Cole?
The printer.
The printer. Okay, go ahead and put your pinky on the author of the story, please. Who can tell me the author of this story? Brett? Myron? Olberg. That's kind of a hard one. Myron Olberg. Good. And go ahead and put your thumb on the illustrator. Good. Okay, Enrique, who is our illustrator? Henry Sorensen. Good. And that's just a fancy O right there. So it's just the letter O, just like you guys know. Good. So what does the illustrator do? Who can tell me what the illustrator does? Grant?
Draws the pictures.
Draws the pictures. And what does the author do, Jared? Writes the story. So please teach your neighbor what the author and the illustrator do in a book. Teach.
Okay. Like the illustrator. Yes.
Good. Okay. So I want you guys to just look at this front page. What do you guys, the front page, what do you guys think? Then you guys can just kind of flip through and just look at the pictures quick, okay? I'm going to give you about a minute to just look at the pictures. You don't have to read any words. I just want you to look at the pictures. When you're done looking at the pictures, flip it back to the very front page, please. Looks like it. Kyle, how you doing? Good. Dakota? Okay, let's take some predictions. What does a prediction mean again? What does a prediction mean again, Grant?
Guesses.
Guesses, right? And how do you make your guess? What kind of information do you use, Kyle? Clues from the book, exactly. Good. So, what kind of predictions by looking at the pictures do you guys, what do you guys think is going to happen in our book, maybe, just by looking at the pictures? Kaden?
There's going to be a fire later on.
Ooh, so there's going to be a fire. Good. Michaela?
Might be the first printer ever made.
Ooh, good. First printer ever made. Do you guys think the printer, when they say the printer in the title, do you guys think it's about a person or a machine? What do you guys think? Kylie? What do you think? You think it's a machine. So we think when they say printer, they mean the machine. Okay. What else do we think that we know about this story? Andrew?
A person.
Oh, you think it's going to be a person? Okay, so or person. Okay, what are some other predictions we have about this story? Kello?
That he's going to bring use some paper hats back for the children.
He's going to, can you say that again? A little louder?
He's going to bring newspaper hats back for the children.
So newspaper hats for the kids, okay. Did you see kids in your pictures?
Yeah.
Good. And we'll take one more. Abby?
He's going to make friends.
Ooh, make friends with who? Who are his friends going to be?
Other characters in the story.
Are they adults? Are they kids? Or maybe do they work at the print shop too, do you think? So you think it's kids or adults?
Adults.
Adults, okay. That work at the print shop? When do you guys think this story takes place by looking at the pictures? Do you think it happens today? Do you think it's going to happen in the future? Or do you think it maybe happened in our past? Luis? Past. Why do you think it happened in the past?
Because it looks like it's old.
What clues tell you that it's old? What are some clues? Who can help them? What are some clues that tell you it's old? Marissa?
Stuff is all broken up and rustled.
Okay, what about the clothes they wear?
Yeah.
Do you guys notice? Go back and look at some of the pictures of the clothes they wear. Do we wear clothes like that today?
No.
No, right? What about, is there Is there pictures of any maybe buildings or cars that you see?
Yeah, the cars.
Great. Are the cars older?
Yeah.
Okay. Grant, thank you for raising your hand.
This building right here.
Great. The buildings look older. Great. Good job, guys. So when we're making predictions, it's important to use the words, which we will do later, but it's also important to use the pictures, what we just did now, right? Okay, let's go back to the front page. And go ahead, who can tell me what genre of story our story is today? Go ahead and put your thumb where it talks about the genre of our story. Ethan, can you tell me what the genre is?
Realistic fiction.
Realistic fiction. Who can tell me what realistic fiction means? First, let's break that apart. Who can tell me what fiction means? What does fiction mean? Michaela? Not real. Please teach your partner what fiction means. Teach.
Okay. Not real. I mean, fiction means.
Great. So class.
Yes.
Class.
Yes.
So if it's realistic fiction, what would that mean? We know that fiction means not real. We put realistic in front of it. What does that mean? Cole?
It's not real, but it could happen.
Exactly. It's not real, but it could happen. So please teach your neighbor what realistic fiction means.
Okay. It's not real.
Hayden and Enrique, can you guys be in group, please?
That could be.
We work in real life. So class.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So while we're reading our story, we are going to make predictions again, but this time we're going to use the words, the text of the story, what it tells us to make our predictions, and then we're going to fill in what actually happens to see if our predictions are right. Think you can handle that? Yeah? All right, go ahead and put your finger on the first word so we're ready to follow along. Remember, what does it look like when you're being a good listener? Abby?
Seeing crisscross applesauce.
Saying crisscross applesauce. Jared? Our hands are in our lap. Where's one of our hands, though? What do we do with one of our fingers? Larissa? What do you do with your finger when it's reading? You follow along. Great. And where do your eyes go when you're reading the story? Kylie?
On the book.
On the book. And when we're done, then where do they go?
On you.
On me. Fantastic. I think we're ready. Okay, nice and quiet. Be listening.
The Printer by Myron Alberg. Illustrated by Henry Sorensen. My father was a printer. He wore a printer's four-cornered newspaper hat. Every day after work, he brought home the next day's paper. After reading it, he always folded a page into a small hat and gently placed it on my head. I would not take off my newspaper hat until bedtime. My father was deaf. Though he could not hear, he felt through the soles of his shoes the pounding and rumbling of the giant printing presses that daily spat out the newspaper he helped create. As a boy, my father learned how to speak with his hands. As a man, he learned how to turn lead-type letters into words and sentences. My father loved being a printer. Sometimes my father felt sad about the way he was treated by his fellow workers who could hear.
So, by learning what we just read, by taking what we just heard and what we just read, what are some predictions that you guys think, what are some predictions we have, knowing some new information that we just learned? What was the big thing that we just learned that we didn't predict? What kind of impairment does the printer, does the dad have? What's wrong with his hearing? Andrew?
He's deaf.
He's deaf, right? So do you think that's going to be a big part of the story? Yeah, I think so too. So, what are some predictions using the text that we can make? Larissa?
That everyone's gonna start figuring out what to say with his hands.
Great. So he's going to use what? His hands to what? Talk. Great. That's really great. Who can add just a little bit more to this? need to talk or tell about or speak about, Grant?
He's gonna tell some firefighters that the fire's going.
Okay, so talk, or how about tell people about the fire? Great. Kyle? Oh, maybe other people. Real talk. What do you mean real talk? Oh, so somebody that speaks sign language and can speak with their mouth so that they can communicate. Okay, right. So maybe find someone to help him. Good. These are all great predictions. Okay, go ahead and put your finger on the word. Anthony, and be ready to follow along.
He did not hesitate. He jumped onto an ink drum and waved his arms excitedly until, clear across the room, he caught the attention of a fellow printer who also couldn't hear a sound. My father's hands shouted through the terrible noise of the printing presses. Fire! Fire! Tell everyone to get out. Tell the hearing ones. His friend climbed onto a huge roll of newsprint. His fingers screamed to the other deaf workers. Fire! Fire! Tell the hearing ones. All the printers who couldn't hear ran to fellow workers who could. They pointed to the fire, which had now spread to the wall next to the only exit. Not one of my father's friends left until everyone knew of the danger. My father was the last to escape.
Good. So what did happen? Were we right? Were we right about our prediction?
Yep.
Yeah, so what happened then? So what did he end up doing? Enrique, what did he end up doing?
He ended up getting the other deaf workers to told the other deaf workers that there was a fire.
And how did he tell them that there is a fire, Brett?
With his hands.
Right, so he was able to help save people, right? So he helped save other workers by what? He helped save the other workers. How did he help save the other workers? We already said it, but one more time. Michaela, how did he help save the other workers? By using his hands to talk. Good. Okay. Ready to move on? Finger on the next word.
By the time everyone had fled, the fire, feeding on huge quantities of paper, had engulfed the enormous plant. The giant presses, some still spewing out burning sheets of newspaper, had fallen partly through the floor. Great shafts of flame shot out the bursting windows. The printers stood in the street, broken glass at their feet. They embraced one another as the fire engines arrived. They were happy to be alive. My father stood alone, struck numb by the last image of the burning presses. The fire destroyed the printing presses. The plant had to close for repairs, but not one printer had been hurt. When the printing plant finally reopened, my father went back to the work he loved. The new presses were switched on and roared into life.
Okay, so what's another prediction we can make now? So we just learned that he helped save all of those people, didn't he? So what do you think is going to happen now? Who else? Who? Jared, what do you think?
All the workers wanted more and more.
Great. So the other workers gonna treat him now that he pretty much saved all of their lives, right? Okay, how do you think they're gonna treat him now? Kella?
Nicely.
Right? What do you think, police?